good people. Welcome to our podcast, Coaching with Cadillac and Bonita. I'm Elijah Cadillac Harris,
And I'm Bonita Billingsley Harris.
and we're here today to introduce you to one of my former student athletes, Jeremy Chase, who played football for me at Maury High School. He had a lot of challenges growing up, and he's going to talk to you about those challenges that he had and how he overcame them. Ended up being the captain of our football team. He went to the Naval Academy, was the captain of their football team, and now he's the captain of his own ship,
That's right.
leading men and women.
Which is amazing to see his journey. And I think that a lot of his experience will help our young athletes, their parents and teachers and guidance counselors see how you can do it when you are struggling, how you can overcome those struggles. Because life be lifing sometimes for all of us,
Yeah.
right? But we can work on some tips that help you overcome. So check out our conversation with Commander Jeremy Chase.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really appreciate being here and joining this podcast.
Thanks. And I want to give our viewers a little bit of information about you, Commander Chase. You are the commanding officer and captain of the USS Delbert D. Black now in the U.S. Navy. But we first met you in high school when you were at Maury High School.
It was one of the best things of my life being, coming from Elizabeth City State University as a head football coach and then coming to Maury High School and cultivating, as Jeremy would probably be well to tell you, that area where the team was not focused and needed a lot of growth and needed a lot of cultivation, and brought a staff in that demonstrated love and caring far beyond the football field, and but just was a part of it. And so, man, I was just blessed to have two of many great men to play at Maury High School.
Two Chase brothers.
The Chase brothers, man, they were the best, the absolute best.
Yeah, I think we were really just absolutely blessed when you came. You're right. We had a kind of a flailing football team, not really focused, had a lot of talent,
Yeah.
but didn't really know how to use the talent. And then, right, on the personal side, I mean, you guys just really took care of all of us, right? I mean, through all of our personal issues and everything, right? It was, you guys were a family to us and kind of created a team, brotherhood, family atmosphere there, and really helped us get, through a lot of challenges, especially like for me, with my mom dying senior year. So really appreciate all that.
Well, it was a blessing. You were a blessing to us too, and man, not having any children, boys of my own, I treated you guys like you're my sons, and and that's what I encourage the staff to do. Treat them all like they're your sons. They're part of the family, and I think we accomplished that for the most part, because, as you said, so many people's lives were turned around, and just projected and went into not just professionally, but into their own professions, and breaking that cycle that we're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just breaking that cycle.
Yeah, you guys brought and taught us, toughness, love for the team and everyone around us, and then discipline, right? That was actually the biggest probably thing. You guys brought discipline for the team.
Commander, can you tell us a little bit about your journey before we go on to it? Maybe from high school on, or just childhood, growing up in Norfolk on, to let people know a little bit about your journey and how football impacted your life.
Okay. So grew up in Norfolk, went to Maury High School, and sophomore year, Coach Harris came as the head football coach there, and was blessed to have his tutelage, which then provided me scholarship opportunities to go play in Division One. Through a lot of counseling and guidance and all that from you and Coach Harris and or you and Coach Mitchell and the rest of the team, right? I finally decided to make the smart decision and go to the Naval Academy to play football there, and that was absolutely great move, best decision that I absolutely could have made heading out of high school. Really, the Naval Academy is what I also needed, right? Follow and get that structure and discipline into my life. And then, I went to the preparatory school up in Newport first. Also a great opportunity. It was essentially a redshirt year.
Mhm.
where I got to like both mentally and physically develop. So then when I went into the Naval Academy, right now I'm a year older than everyone of my classmates, and more physically developed, and just ready for the entire Naval Academy experience, from like all the military side of being a plebe, but also then able to contribute to the football team right away. When I was at Naval Academy, I ended up being a 4-year starter, and then the captain of the football team my senior year. And it was a lot of work there too, right? We had a new
Right. That's
coach
right. That's right.
come in. Paul Johnson came in my freshman
That's
year.
right.
We had won, I think three out. We were 3-30, I believe, at
That's
the
right.
end of my freshman year, to then roll into probably the most successful stretch of Naval Academy
Right.
football in the school's history over the next 20 years or so. But like we went to 3 straight bowl games when I was
That's
there,
right.
nationally ranked, and then I got to be the captain of the defense on my senior year, which was a great privilege, and right also afforded me the opportunity. We went to the White House. I got to meet the president, and receive the Commander in Chief trophy, which is the round robin kind of prize between us at the Naval Academy, Army, and Air Force.
That's right.
Um, and then from there, I chose to be a surface warfare officer out of the Naval Academy, and I've been kind of stationed all over the place. From West Coast and San Diego. I've lived in Hawaii twice. This is my
Wow.
second time down in Mayport. I've been stationed in Annapolis and the DC, and I'll be going back to DC in this summer time frame. But the really the road starting with football. Football is what provided me the opportunity in life, right?
Right.
Right. I was a smart kid, but I didn't do what I should. I didn't apply myself as great as I could have in academics in high school. I did make a round turn towards the end, my junior senior year. My academics came way up, and I applied that when I was at the Naval Academy as well. But like early on, right, pretty much before you got there, I was kind of floundering on the academic side. And then you came in, and I think I got a D in geometry my sophomore year, and like you just laid it into me. Um, and like between you and my dad, and like, oh my goodness, I felt some pain, and it was like, okay, well, maybe I do need to focus and apply
Growing
myself.
pains.
Yeah. And it's probably the best lesson I had, because like
Yep.
it's kind of like didn't care about school at all up
That's
until that
right.
point. And then all of a sudden, like, right, it kind of all clicked.
Right.
So then the academic side became like, oh, like, just you do need to have a learning mentality in
Mhm.
life to get where you're going to go. And right, and it was just a great lesson. It was a painful one as a sophomore
Right.
in high school, but it allowed me to propel myself to commanding officer of what I believe is the greatest warship on the planet.
Absolutely, man. I tell you what, the process is always interesting. The process of developing is interesting, but if you have the right people around you, it can happen, and it can happen
Mm-hmm.
over and over again. And football is a great sport to set the example for life. You have your boundaries, on the field and off the field, and those progress reports that I made y'all fill out weekly,
Yeah.
and checking in with your teachers and making sure that you're how many assignments you missed, and the after practice discipline that was required when they were
The
when you
big bad
were
wolf.
that wolf you never forget
Oh, the
that.
big bad wolf. Yeah.
Are they still allowed to do that?
Uh,
Yeah.
the big bad
Probably.
wolf can really
Yeah.
change you, can it? What you say?
Oh, yeah.
Would you say that?
Change your viewpoint.
Absolutely. Like,
So yes, that was, and away from you guys, man, when we would have our coaches meeting, I mean, we would talk about your progress and where you were, and going to the counselors and getting all your what it would take for you to be required to be a Division I player, and just putting that on the menu for you, and you know and just praying and pushing and making
yeah.
things work.
Praying, pushing, and repeat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
golf, for those who don't know, is a disciplinary technique. We'll leave it at that. How about
We'll
that?
leave it at that.
Okay.
And it and for you for the rest of the audience, I've taken the wolf with me every program that I started over at Green Run, to Elizabeth City State University, to Indian River High School, and to Maury, of course. So great production from that. And I learned much of that from believe it or not, I learned a lot from Robert Ledbetter, who was my first coach at Norfolk State. And Jeremy, we kind of mirrored what you did. We ended up winning three championships in a row, conference championships in a row, which is still the best in the school history, right, today.
Awesome.
So, when you have the right recipe and you can cultivate an environment to listen and learn, then you get success. And that's that discipline part.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you, Jeremy, Cadillac didn't start off the most disciplined person either.
No, no,
And
not
I
at all.
and I think that's encouraging to folks who are watching and they think, well, do I have a chance? My grades aren't this. I'm not as organized as this. Do I have a chance to be successful? And we want to show them you do. You just have to take the right path and surround yourself with the right people.
That's right. And change your
Yeah.
habit. Be willing to change your habits.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
You'll get a different results if you change your habits, but you have to be strong enough and you have to get the right people around you pushing you in the right direction.
Yeah. And coach, you were all about preparation, right?
Right.
So, right, and that's something I still lead in today. Like as we go into certifications and exercises,
Right.
right? It's all about how are we preparing for it, right? That proper preparation prevents poor performance, all that stuff.
Right.
Um,
My
and
five
so,
P's.
like, yeah, the five P's. And it's a thing
Remember.
I've utilized throughout my entire football career and now naval career. It's like as we lead into stuff, it's like how am I preparing to have success, right?
Right.
If you're waiting till the last minute, right, you're not you're you're probably not going to succeed. And if you do, it's by chance, not by actual skill
That's right.
or effort or whatever. So like and preparation also then provides you with opportunities.
That's right.
So if you are prepared, because I remember I think junior year or so, yeah, I had a terrible start on defense at the beginning of the year. And I think we played green run, and
Right.
I playing outside linebacker. I'm supposed to jam the tight end, and I just couldn't jam the tight end for some reason that game, and like gave two quick seam touchdowns and end up losing the game pretty much because of my poor defense and deservedly so. I got benched, which then kind of lit a fire under me
Hmm.
because it's both personal pride
Right.
was upset, but then it's like okay, like I had to look at that as like okay, I could make an excuse or I
Right.
could continue to prepare myself and the next time we're ready, or next time the team calls on me, I'm going to be ready to go and execute. Um, and then I think as a couple games later, we're playing out at Churchland, and like this time, right, we just couldn't stop the quarterback.
Right.
Quarterback on the option, because
Right.
no one could take him, and I'm like, put me in, coach. I can take them. And I've just been watching the film and knowing exactly how we should execute the practice, all that stuff. And then right came in and bam, like just crushed the quarterback every time he had the ball. And then we ended up, kind of steamrolling through the
That's
second
right.
half of that game. But it was just about, preparing for your opportunity because you never know when it's going to come back. You
That's
never
right.
know if you're going to have another one.
That's
So
right.
when the opportunity, you know, presents itself, you need to be ready to go. And part of that is those five P's, right? And
That's right.
that's that, everything you do, in the weeks, months prior to game day is what provides you the reps and sets, both mentally and physically, to be ready to go.
That's right. You have to be intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen by accident. You said it right. It's not going to happen by accident. And you got to observe, take a close look at where you are in the
Yep.
moment. And you got to study film. And you got to look at what your practice is looking at. How is the coach preparing you to take on this option play? And then always be willing. Coaches got to understand, give people second chances. You
Mm-hmm.
got to give them second chances. So you learn the most when you're sitting on the bench and you're watching it and you're going, I can do this. I know I can do this. And when you
Mm-hmm.
got in, not only did you do it, he did it very well, and it changed the trajectory of the game.
Yeah,
Another formula I like is success is when preparation meets opportunity, which is
yeah,
what you both are
absolutely.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, you need those two things together, and then that's what makes success. So you got to be ready when the opportunity comes.
that's a perfect
Yeah,
norm for success right there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah, and the
preparation.
same thing occurred when I was a plebe at the Naval Academy, right? I mean, I got the opportunity to get on special teams as a plebe, and I was probably number 4 or 5 on the depth chart at middle linebacker. Um, and then, I'm sitting there. At least I got to travel. I was getting in
Right,
games, but taking those mental reps and sets, both in film and practice, when I got into the actually able to take reps in practice, and then like halfway through the season, Austin, we got the injury bug,
right,
and right, also, I went from fourth string to starting, and
right,
my first start
right.
was Tulane away, and
Wow.
I roll in there and I have double digit tackles, and it was a really good game for plebe middle linebacker,
Right,
right? And then the very next game after that is national televised against number 8 or number 9 Notre Dame up in Ravens Stadium in Baltimore,
right.
and I had another great game. Like
Yes, you
I
did.
think I had like 9 or 10
Pentacle
tackles
again.
and a sack in my first career sack, and right, it
Right,
was all about you know the preparation, right, leading into that stuff. Like if I wasn't paying attention, if I was just ready to settle on like, man, punt team and kickoff team is
right,
great, right? But I was like, okay, well, like I would like more playing time. I never know when I'm going to have this shot again.
right.
And then halfway through the season, it's football. People
That's
get
right.
hurt all the
That's right.
time, so you go from the bottom of the depth chart to a starter, and then bam, next thing you know, 4 years later, you've played a lot of football, you've won a
Yeah,
lot of games, and right, you look back on those accomplishments. All about right taking those steps and
right.
preparing, and the effort that you put in along the way, and the sacrifices,
Yeah.
both your time and energy, to make sure that you were ready when that opportunity afforded itself.
You said that Jeremy was a born captain.
Yeah, he was. He just didn't know it. I knew it. And then when I first met him, I knew it. And then when I not only that, but and Jeremy will tell you, I talked to his family while he wasn't even aware of it. Like, look, this is how I see him, and this is what I need you to do as parents, and this is what I'm going to be doing on the field and in the classroom. And so we put it together, and we got a captain of his not only of his high school team and his college team, and now he is leading men, and he's the captain of his ship. And that I mean, all of that came from the groundwork,
Mhm.
and faith and believing and seeing. I just saw that in him. He and his brother Nate. I mean, just saw that they had greatness in them, and they just needed someone to cultivate the small part, the beginning stage where they were, and then be able to take them far beyond anything that they could imagine or think.
Yeah, he also became a surface warfare officer, and it's kind of just like high school. I've been following him around. Right, he was just commanding officer of USS Preble out in San Diego. Now he's at the Pentagon. I'm the commanding officer of USS Delbert D. Black, and now I'm going back to the Pentagon. So it is kind of interesting how life works, and we tend to overlap in a lot of areas, but yeah, he's had a great career as a surface warfare officer. Now, right, he's the executive secretary for the Secretary of the Navy, the head guy in all of the Navy. Right, he's on his personal staff, handpicked because of the just great officer and
Right.
professional that my brother is.
Awesome. And you were both commanders on two separate destroyers, right, at the same time?
Yeah, so we overlapped for about 2 or 3 months. Both commanding officers. I think we're told that we were the first brothers that were
There you go.
destroyer captains at the same time. I think since like World War II or maybe Korean War or
Right.
something like
That's
that. So
amazing.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a testament to both of you and your strength and your resilience. And we should probably talk a little bit before we go about some of the challenges that you had to face as a young person, and how football helped you through it. Football and family and faith, of course.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned briefly about your mom dying, and I don't know if you want to share a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So my mom died, I think it was the day or maybe 2 days before senior year of high school.
Yeah.
So, right. I mean, that was just a absolutely
Yeah.
devastating loss. Um, and I think we had one game prior to prior to um, prior to her death, and then I think we had a bye week. Somehow we had a bye week that week. It's like perfect timing, as if there was ever a thing for a
Right.
death. Um, but we had a game. I forgot who we played for. I think that's actually Green Run again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Green Run. We just kept playing them. I wonder why. And then you gave me the tape of the film right after it because my mom was on hospice at the time,
Right.
and I think I took the game directly home from or took the tape directly home from the game, and
The
my
game. That's
mom
right.
watched it, and then I think she passed away the next day.
Yeah.
Um, and so right, football was kind of everything, right? When you're
Yeah.
17 years old and your mom dies, you're just at a complete loss. You don't really know how to process it. You have all sorts of you know testosterone and hormones going on that you don't understand, like the totality of death,
Right.
and being your mom,
Right.
that's who's pretty much all you've kind of known. Um, and then um, right? Being able to process it and not like, just completely shut down and collapse and stuff.
Which many
So
would. Many would
yeah,
quit. You
Yeah.
know, it'd be hard
yeah,
for a lot of people to
Yeah.
overcome
Well, you
that.
better believe it.
Mhm.
yeah. So I remember, after my mom died, it was like, it was a steady, I think I took the entire next week off. Obviously didn't go to school or anything like that. And but it was every day there was different people from you or the other coaches or
Right.
other players coming by the house and sitting down and making sure I was okay, and really like trying to show compassion and empathy and all the things, right, someone needs when their parent dies, right. And then when we came back and the next week and right, it's really like it was like football was what I could was my escape from that
Mhm.
pain, right?
Right.
So I could apply 100% of my energy and emotion into the game, and then right, I think the next two games against like First Colonial and
Yeah.
I think Great Bridge was first, and then First
First
Colonial after
one.
that. I think were the two best games I ever played in high school.
Right.
And those were the two games I used to send as film to other, for when I was being recruited. Those are two games that I would send to different schools and stuff
Okay.
like that. Um, but it was just all about like, I remember sitting down with you and Coach Mitchell and Coach Walden, and it's like, all right, you have a lot of pent up emotion and energy. You have to focus it, right?
Right. Right.
And like figuring out, and my release was football.
That's right.
Um, and like it was just such a great team and bond and brotherhood that you built on that I had the support from not just the coaching staff, not but like all of the players
Right.
on board the ship. So or on board the sorry, announcements going off are like on board the ship. No, that's part of the team. So like it really helped me get through that time. And like if I was just left to my own devices,
Right.
and if I didn't have football to channel, and I didn't have the coaches and the players to help me through, like I don't know how I don't know what my
Right.
life would have been. I could have, when you're 17, you make a lot of bad decisions
Right. That's right.
that could change the course of your life, right? And having the support system, with you guys and my family and everyone in place, right, helped me stay focused and on the right path. So I didn't go out and rebel and
Right.
get in
Right.
trouble and do
Right.
something that 17-year-olds who are
Right.
having extreme emotional issues because
Right.
of the loss, right, can fall into that trap. So right, I thank you for the guidance when I really needed it most.
Well, I tell you what, Glory to God, man. When you're 17 years old, you struck some really vital points. You could take the loss of your mom and the things that are around you, and you can begin to medicate yourself on the wrong things. The
Hmm.
drugs, the alcohol, all the things that could be a downfall. And I'm just grateful that I had a staff of men and players, teammates that that we encourage that would stop by and help you see you through that process. And you stayed the course, and with your brothers Nate, as far still guiding you even from afar away. Still, all those things came together, and man, I'm more than proud of you. You just don't know.
And you
Oh,
know your mom was watching. She still is
oh yeah,
watching.
Yes,
And you
yeah,
made her so
absolutely.
proud.
yes,
Yeah.
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 and to be able to do it in that fashion, to for your mom to be able to see you play at that high level and to have those two tapes to be the springboard to where you are now,
Mhm.
giving you the opportunity, and all those coaches that was coming through the building, as I was like, man, this Jeremy Chase kid, man, I'm telling you, he's one of my best kids, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that when you saw the Navy Academy, you kind of fell in love with it, and that environment is so impressive, you know,
Mhm.
the ambiance of that place, man, and the as you said, the brotherhood. You made the right
Yeah.
choice. You know you made the right choice. Yeah, you're in the right.
Yeah, the Naval Academy absolutely is a phenomenal institution. Really helps develop leaders,
Yeah,
uh, not just on the football team, but like throughout the entire academy itself. So yeah, that was absolutely a great choice, and I appreciate the kind of the uh, you know I guess coaching to get me to go there. It's like, well, there's all
absolutely.
these other things, but
Right.
like what about the Naval Academy
What
again?
about it?
So
I kept bringing you
yeah,
back to
yeah, every time. Well, what about this school? Well, that's great. We'll send tapes and we'll do this, but the Naval Academy is a top three public institution in the. Oh
That's
yeah,
Did
I
I
did
mention
know
the
that.
Naval Academy?
Yeah, so kept going back to that. So maybe it's all the hints that I should go there.
that's right.
Yeah. Well, you lost your father as well, didn't you? Pretty young.
No
Wow.
matter what, someone would meet my dad, and then I'd
Yeah.
talk to them, be like, "Oh, your dad is so proud of you,"
Oh,
and he really was, and as blessed to have him as a father, and again, he helped me get through the loss of my mom, and he highly encouraged me as well to go to the Naval Academy. So when I chose
You know
that,
they were
he was
talking.
quite, yeah, I know. And he was quite happy when I chose to be a midshipman. So,
Well, one of the things I think that's so special about you, Jeremy, and your brother Nace, both commanders now, is not just that you were successful in football at high school and college, but that you were able to channel those skills that you learned into a successful career in the Navy. And that's one of the things I think is special about you, Hun, is that a lot of your players, they've either gone on to be successful with professional football. You know, he's got five that's gone into the NFL. He's had one that's very successful with track, went to the Olympics. He's
mhm.
had some that are professional motivational speakers and successful in business. And so we want young people to know that football is a great skill. It's a great team sport. Sports in general
yes.
teaches a lot of wonderful skills. But if you don't end up doing a profession in it and making it professional career, you have lots of other choices for
Yeah.
careers that your
Uh,
football experience will help you be successful.
oh yeah, absolutely. I've applied so many aspects of football throughout my naval career. Right when I'm driving the ship and trying to figure out, going through a very high traffic density area like Strait of
Right.
Gibraltar, where there's just ships and boats and all sorts of chaos going on. Right. It's like
Right.
being back in middle linebacker, right? Your
Right.
head's on the
Right. That's
swivel
right.
the whole
That's right.
time. Like,
That's
hey, who's
right.
coming behind me? Where's these guys
Right.
at? Got to take into account everything, right?
That's right.
Make sure your relative bearings and make sure your pursuit angles and all
That's
that stuff
right.
are
That's right.
are correct. Right. I mean, all this stuff is applied. You don't really think about it. And then you're like, huh, I guess like if I do keep my head on a swivel
That's
as a middle
exactly right.
linebacker, right? And then as we're driving a ship onto the pier, it becomes like all the subtle things,
Right.
right? Of like, all right, if I move my left foot, I need to do for instance, like coming out of 3-point stance, right?
Right.
If you're going against a run, right, you got to get that power step in,
That's
right?
right.
If you're gonna rush a passer, it's got to be that big, giant, really quick step to get upfield. But
Lots of
those
lessons.
same things that you're thinking about in football, and you're reading and reacting to what's going on. You
That's
see
right.
a lineman move this way. All right. Same thing with the ship against a pier or whatever. You see the ship reacting this way. I need to do this command. So
Right.
it's things that you've kind of trained your body to do. And
Right.
in football is the same thing you're kind of thinking about in your mind. It's like when I see this, I react this way. Again, it goes back to both physical and mental reps and sets, right?
That's right.
If I get in a simulator, or the more I drive the ship, the better I get. But I can
Right.
also prepare myself mentally, like, okay, the wind is going to take me and make the ship do this, or the
Right.
current's going to do this. Here's how I counteract that. And so again, it goes back into that preparation point,
That's right.
right? Before you do these evolutions and these high risk things, you're thinking through all the stuff. Have I prepared myself? Have I gone through this? And am I ready to safely get the ship in and out of port? Am I
Right.
ready to safely do this mission overseas or something like that? So I mean, just I'm telling you, like it's incredible when if you actually go down the list of things
Right.
in football and
Right.
apply how I can think they apply to the naval profession. Absolutely incredible. And I was talking about ship handling too. Like I
Right.
go down in combat, same thing. Head on a swivel. Who wears it?
Right.
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 Absolutely.
What is my plan?
Right.
They do. I see this. I do this. Right.
Right.
Building mental reps and sets,
Right.
physical reps and sets, all that stuff.
Wow.
So,
The formations, man. When you see
oh yeah,
formations, you know what's coming out of those formations. What can they run
yeah,
out of this, right? I mean,
yeah,
is the tight end here? Is it
yeah,
back heavy to my side? I mean, what the field for where you are on the field? Are you on the hash mark? Are you middle of the field? Where am I dropping to?
yeah.
Where's my
Absolutely.
threats? You know?
All that kind of like strategic thinking that is applied, that you learn and is applied in football,
That's right.
uh, is also applied, in the military. So, like,
Wow.
they always kind of equate, like everyone always does football analogies for the military and everything but it really does apply pretty well. And like especially the biggest thing is just being part of the team, right?
That's right.
Understanding where your role is, right? And that like you as a person, even me as the commanding officer, right? It's not about the name over here,
Right.
right? It's about the position, right?
That's right.
It's so I come on board. It's about being the commanding officer, and I get the respect based on the position,
Right.
not the name. And so, like, understanding how you fit in the team and what your roles and responsibilities are applies in part of pretty much every profession,
Right.
but really, really important as part of the military because, like, if there's a breakdown on the team, uh, like there could be dire, like, life, changing consequences. And it really is a team effort, even at
Right.
home. My wife is absolutely the star of the team there, and coach and star,
That's right.
quarterback,
That's right.
all the things.
She's the middle linebacker and
Yeah, she's a
quarterback.
minor. Yeah, she's on offense and defense.
That's right.
She's just like what's his name, Travis Hunter. Like
That's
plays both
right.
ways,
That's right.
right?
If
So
Kristen's anything like me, she's watching this just astounded that you guys can remember details from football games from years ago, but you
oh, yeah.
can't remember things we asked you to do the day before.
Yeah, the trash is probably still there, and can't find my car keys. But I can
They're
tell
the
you stats
MVPs.
from. I can tell you the exact game and what I did, and like,
Right.
It's amazing.
and the hand placement too. Like,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah, I like the same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Well, sir,
yeah,
we know you got a lot of responsibilities, and we are so proud of you and
Wow.
grateful that you took the time to talk with us today.
yeah. Really appreciate you guys having me on here. And like again, it goes back to my life turned around. That sophomore year when you became the head football coach, and I really couldn't thank you enough for the support, the guidance, and everything you provide me along the way. Because I would not be sitting here in this chair on the bridge wing as the commanding officer of USS Delbert D. Black without you, Coach.
Man, I love you, Jeremy, and I love it's more demonstrated than just in a way where what you do speaks louder than what you can say to people. I love you, man, for who you are
Yeah.
and what you turn out to be, and how you now still servicing men all over the country, man. And it's been a real pleasure to have you here today. And I look forward to us getting together when things slow down.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Men and women.
Men and women. That's right.
And man, yeah,
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 I need to be corrected. Yeah.
yeah.
All
There's
right.
a lot of amazing women on board and that serve the for the nation. So they absolutely are vital parts of the team here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, anything else you want to say before we wrap up here?
We'll wrap up with that, and it's just been a great joy, man. I'm just,
Yeah.
when I talk to Charles Bryant, and I just tell all the guys and Sekou Walton, all the guys, man, that I got to make sure they tune into this. They're gonna just lose their mind. They're gonna really.
Yeah, and I mean, all the great thing is you built such a good team of coaches with
Right.
Coach Brian and Walton and Mitchell and
Mitch
uh, McNair.
McNair,
So
yeah,
Yeah.
so
yeah,
like it was and like they're all good coaches in itself, but they're all better men, and
that's right.
they were all looking out for our development as men. So
That's
just
right.
really appreciate right the the culture that you brought to Maury High School.
We
Excellent.
appreciate you too, man.
Yeah,
I'm just glad that we were there at the same time
yeah,
to do great things.
I definitely count my blessings. So
Right.
yeah,
All right. Well, we will definitely be in touch.
all right.
Thanks again for
Thank you,
joining us on Coaching with
thank you,
Cadillac and Bonita.
Much love
thank
to
you
you,
so much.
sir. All
Okay.
right.
Bye now. That was so inspiring. I don't know how anyone could watch that interview and not feel inspired. I mean, can you imagine what he's overcome, losing your mother at such a young age?
To lose your mother as a teenager at a time when you're trying to figure out life for yourself, you don't know which direction you're going. And the blessing is to have a coaching staff in position to help you navigate through those challenges at that portion of your life.
Yeah, but he talked a lot about how you, as the head coach at Maury High School and the coaching staff, helped him get through some of those rough times, he and his brother, when they could have gone in a completely different direction.
Well, he was the captain of our football team, and he became the captain of the Navy football team
The U.S. Naval Academy?
in the U.S.
Yeah.
Naval Academy, and now he's a captain of his own ship. So he's learned those techniques, those strategies, and he's applied them to his own life, and now he's leading men and women.
That's right. And what's even more extraordinary is that his brother, his older brother, Commander Nate Chase, is also a high-ranking official in the Navy. He also had his own ship, and they overlapped for a while.
Yes.
They both were captains of destroyers in the Navy at the same time, which is historic. And now his older brother is at the Pentagon.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure Nate and Jeremy are still wrestling over the fact that his younger brother got on a podcast before he did. So that's that's going to be something to see him and hear from.
Well, he said he would like to talk with us sometime, so hopefully we can bring his story to our audience as well. And we hope that you stick with us on Coaching with Cadillac and Bonita. We have a lot more great interviews and great insight to share.